All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for either joining me live or watching the replays. I want to introduce you to an amazing entrepreneur that I have connected and am getting to know. And she is brilliant at helping businesses to clean up their marketing messes and to just be seen better and like there's a whole slew of all kinds of things that Haley does. So I'm just going to let her tell you about what she does and how she serves the communities that she's in. Haley has been this is her jam. This is her area of genius and she's really good at it. So with not much ado, I'm going to go ahead and let Haley take the show here.
Hey there, welcome. Thank you for having me, Kelly. I am so excited to be here. And yeah, I started Women's Entrepreneur Network 8 years ago. I've grown it organically. I've been a software engineer my entire career working on websites and all things, web related for forever. And in 2011, 2012, I was actually at Duke getting my MBA, got a concentration in entrepreneurship and innovation and graduated and started a home care agency while doing some consulting and light social media management on the side. And I swore I'd never do any more development ever again because I'm no longer a developer. And that has definitely proved to not be the case. And since then, my business has really evolved to where I am working with small business owners to really figure out how to fix their websites, fix their marketing, fix their funnels, fix their stuff that they're doing, and do better, honestly, on a budget while making good revenue and making good profit. So, a lot of what we're doing is yes, we're building funnels. Yes, we're fixing up websites. Yes, we're doing a lot of the tech stuff to make things work, helping clients manage their social media, doing all the things. But a lot of times people come to me and they're like, hey, can you build another website for me? I'm not getting any sales. And sometimes it goes back to, well, you may not be getting any sales because you're not getting any traffic onto your website or you don't have any visibility. So maybe we need to look at what the root cause of the problem is rather than trying to build another funnel or another website and driving traffic to it. A lot of times I'm going in and looking at a business from a holistic perspective and figuring out where the gaps are and where the needs are and where we can meet the two. And, it's not always the most expensive fixes. I think a lot of times business owners are thinking, oh, I've got to build this massive thing. And honestly, you can make $1 million a year without much of a website just by using a PDF and a way to invoice people. You can make a lot of money without doing kind of some of the crazy stuff that I've heard people say that you have to do. And a lot of what I'm doing is, backing up and looking at and saying, okay, so what kind of business do you have? Where are the gaps? Where do the two meet? Which gaps does it make sense to fill? Because not all gaps make sense to fill. And then going from there and just trying to be really rational and sane about it rather than trying to sell like, hey, this is my one size fits all solution that doesn't work for anybody.
Yeah. Because so I've I've been there myself, and so many business owners, like, we just pour money into these different strategies and different like websites and all this stuff that just isn't working because that's not either it's not created properly or it's just not the piece that they're needing in that moment.
Right. Well, and a lot of it is really, tactics that are dressed up and, a pig with lipstick on made to look like a strategy, but it's not really. And, if you're building, for instance, a funnel, but it's not part of a wider marketing plan, a lot of times it may not work. And you may not even know why. And some of it'll be targeting, some of it'll be messaging, and some of it could be, you don't have any reviews online for anybody to be able to go and Google you when you're trying to sell a $5,000 product. So if people don't know who you are, they're probably not going to spend $5,000 on something just right out of the gate versus, oh, somebody knows what a Louis Vuitton is. They're going to hop right on that. So it just depends on, the branding, the messaging, the presence, the reputation. There's a lot of things that we ignore sometimes at our own peril and don't take advantage of, and like really paying attention to, is my messaging consistent everywhere, or is my messaging one way over here and it's completely different over there?
Right. Yeah. So you're kind of like the problem solver. You go in and like take a look at the whole thing and pick out the gaps and say, okay, this isn't matching with this, and have the strategies, and you have so many years of like doing this and having this be your genius that it's really easy for you to pick out the gaps. And
I wouldn't say it's always easy, but it definitely is easier. It's really that looking at what's going on, how it's going, figuring it out, and then going from there. I really want to, be clear that sometimes it takes some of that, like just going through a checklist, going, okay, how does this look? How does that look? How does the other look? What does your Facebook profile look like? Does your Facebook profile and what you're posting on your profile match what you're trying to do? Do you have a completely dead profile and then you're trying to run ads from it? There's a lot of things that can really contribute to a campaign doing really well or a campaign doing really poorly. And many times it's the stuff around the edges, not just, the ad campaign itself that's the problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Helping them all to line up for sure.
Yeah. And it's just easy to say, hey, it's just this one thing, and really in life, it almost never is, right?
Right. Yeah. Because they all bleed into each other for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if someone was saying, oh my gosh, I don't know if I should like be looking to work with Haley and her team, what would be like one of the first pieces that they would want to see as a flag saying, Haley can absolutely help me with this?
I would say you're not getting the number of clients you should be getting for the amount of money you're spending or time that you're spending on your marketing. That's usually a huge flag. Or I had my website done, it was 8 years ago and it's half broken now. Or another one that I get a lot is, I need to redo my website and I've called 3 website developers and I can't get anybody to return my call, and we'll be all over it.
Awesome. And is there any businesses that you prefer to work with, or like just
prefer to work with? We work with a lot of different types of businesses. We work with coaches. We worked with a lot of realtors. We've worked with a lot of contractors, general contractors, home repair, restaurants, all kinds of different businesses really over time. I would say that the hardest ones for us to really help a whole super lot sometimes are direct sales, direct marketing, just because they have a lot of their own infrastructure already built in. Sometimes franchises also have a lot of rules about, well, you can't advertise here because we control all that advertising or whatever. So we may have to get smart and creative about how we're leveraging marketing. And a lot of times it's not so much about, spending the most money on the most platforms. It's really about getting smart about where we're spending the money, and being really smart with the budget. A lot of times people will come to me for ads and I'm like, yeah, we could spend $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 a month, but we're going to start at $250 or $500 in the first month, figuring out your ads and seeing what people are doing initially. And then, seeing what the cost per click is, and then, scaling up the ads, because there's like actually this curve that ads go through. And over time, ads age, so they have to be updated. But one of the things is if I come in and, put my foot on the gas pedal and then I do this, with this speedometer, the speedometer is going to go all the way across the curve. And I'm going to potentially end up spending too much money on a particular ad campaign that, the audience isn't big enough or the reach isn't big enough or whatever. There's a lot of things that we have to test when we do ad campaigns. And then the other thing too, a lot of times is that people are like, well, how much is it going to cost me per lead? Well, it depends. I'm not entirely sure, right? How much is it going to cost me to acquire a client? I can guess, I can put an educated guess in, but it's always a range depending on what you're selling. It's always a range. So, it's that it may, if you're selling a $7 product, but it's $7 a month, it may make sense to do advertising. But if it's only a $7 product and that's all you've got, you may not have enough profit in there to do advertising at all. So there's always those conversations about math and numbers and cost per client and all the things.
Yep. Awesome. And as far as like, if someone wants to connect with you, find out more about, seeing if they're an ideal client for you and if you can help them with what they've got going on, where can they find you? Because I know you're everywhere.
Yeah, they can find me at Women's Entrepreneur Network or HaleyLynnGray.com. My business website is a little bit tricky to spell. It's Intuitive Biz, but it's with the number 2, not spelled out. So if you spell intuitive, but you substitute the number 2, IN, the number 2, ITIVE, biz.com, then you can find me there too.
Okay. And I will drop the links for connecting with you and for people to reach out to you in all the places that this is streaming to. Is there any like tips or suggestions or things that you would like to drop in for anybody that is watching right now?
Yeah. I would say that, one of the things that people really neglect early on in their business, not everybody, but a number of people do, is that they don't focus on continually improving and expanding their network and their reach. If you can focus on relationships, if you can focus on expanding your network, getting to know more people in your community, in your area, not just, people that are competitors, although maybe some of those, but getting to know more people who could be potential buyers and building your audience, building your network, the people you're talking to, that will help. Because what happens with a lot of businesses, and it doesn't matter if you're in direct sales, it doesn't matter what you are in, if you don't have a big enough network, you burn out the 150 people you're attached to or connected to start with, and you're not continuing to expand that reach. You're going to run into sales problems really, really fast. Good marketing almost always starts with the owner and the quality of the owner's network and their own reputation. So if you can focus on, that network, that reach, that platform and reputation, it gets so much easier, and it doesn't have to cost anything. Nothing but time. So, build out your Rolodex, and that's something that nobody can ever take away from you.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I just want to bring in a quick story. Like my daughter, who you saw, she had her lemonade stand, right? And she rocked it. I was impressed. She made amazing sales that day. And then she was like, oh, this is fun. And I can do this. I want to do this again tomorrow. And I was like, oh, like we have to like expand our audience, right? We don't want to burn out like this little piece of our neighborhood, right? Because it's just, they're not going to be able to continue to fill that space. Mm-hmm. So that is a brilliant, and we do that within our own businesses so often, right? You have the however many Facebook friends or however many people are in your community that you're like pouring into. And if you're not like, if you're just selling in that same space all the time, like people are tuning out. So
yeah, you have to widen the audience. I mean, my daughter sold Girl Scout cookies. My younger daughter sold a lot of Girl Scout cookies over her Girl Scout career. And one of the things that she definitely learned was you can definitely hit your neighborhood. But it's not just your neighborhood, and it's not just mom and dad's work. If you're trying to sell 3, 4, 5,000 boxes in a year, well, next year you probably can get the same people that are in mom and dad's network to buy from you, but they're not going to buy from you multiple times this year necessarily. So, where can I go that I can reach a bigger audience, and who can I partner with? And we actually found a couple of places here, a hair salon and a karate studio, that would let us set up right in front of their stores because they were in really busy shopping strip malls. And we could sell Girl Scout cookies until the cows came home, right? And we had to get council approval and do all the things. And we sold literally tens of thousands of boxes of cookies a year doing that. And it was that expanding the network, reaching out to the local community, finding ways to get creative with selling more and more cookies, so that we could get in front of more people.
Yeah. Yeah. So people that are networking online, what is a good tip for like expanding that network?
Yeah, so there's kind of two tips that I have. One is to set time limits. It can be really easy to end up, scrolling for days and you're not doing anything. You're just scrolling. Literally, stop the scroll, set a timer, be intentional. And then the other thing too is that, engage with people in a variety of different Facebook groups, post, share, comment on other people's things. And then also, if people are engaging with you, send them friend requests and connect with them. That's true on LinkedIn. It's true on Facebook. Engage with lots and lots of people and make a point of picking 3 to 5 Facebook groups that you go in and you post in regularly, and you actually go through and comment on people's posts. Do that for about 3 months and you will be blown away at the results that you get.
Yeah. And then, so I hope you don't mind me asking this piece, like, so then comes the piece of like tracking, right? Because so many of us, like, I mean, I have totally been guilty of it. Thank God that's something that I'm striving to be better at, but like connecting with a ton of people, but then like not keeping track and like losing all those.
Yeah, that's definitely a keep a spreadsheet and see who you're connecting with and then having conversations with. And having a conversation with somebody is not necessarily, hey, thank you for accepting my friend request. Would you like to buy my stuff? It's like actually like having real conversations about who the person is and where they're from and what do they do and how do they do it? And, how can you help each other? It's amazing how many referrals I get as a result of having passed a ton of referrals. And, I make a point of going into Networking Women of the Triangle, which is one of our big groups here in downtown Cary. And I go through that group. I set a timer, 10 or 15 minutes once or twice a week, and I'm referring other businesses. And it doesn't always yield a 1-to-1 ratio for I referred you, so now you're going to refer me. But it adds up over time.
Yeah. And I am in at least one, if not a few of your communities on Facebook. And I just love how you run them and how like the questions that you ask, and it really gets people thinking and, oh yeah, maybe that is a piece that I'm missing. So I will also link those in the comments as well.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, we love people coming in and connecting. And then, if you're so inclined, come to the live networking events and the live summits and stuff so that you can connect more, build more relationships. Cool thing about people who come to the networking events and come to the summits is that if they spend the time in the community, they actually do build their audience, build their network, build their numbers, build their business.
Yeah. Yeah. So good. Well, Haley, this has been invaluable. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing your wisdom, your expertise. And I'm just very grateful to be in your space and connected. And I look forward to hearing how so many of my community is going to be impacted by the work that you do.
So. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And I'm delighted to be a guest here. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Well, as I love to end things, I just want everybody to know you are in exactly the right space at the right time. If you are coming across this message, it is meant for you, and to learn whatever you need to learn. And as always, go out and expect abundance, because it is our birthright, and it is here for you. All right. Thank you so much. And I hope everybody has an amazing afternoon and a fantastic rest of your day. All right. Thank you, Haley. I'll talk to you
Thank
soon.
you.